I thought I'd do a little update. It's been a while since I've filmed anything specifically for work and the work channel and the company. I'm still filming food and mountain biking. Go check out the Head Angle and the Head Angle MTB on the social medias, and that's like the main YouTube stuff I do. But obviously also I thought I'd just do a bit of an update for what's going on post sort of COVID, as we know, almost there now, I suppose. Obviously during lockdown and Corona and all that sort of stuff, not really bothered with filming for various reasons. At the moment, I'm just off to see 2 new customers today, 2 brand new customers we're seeing today. The first one, I think, is a commercial vehicle company. They do like lorry driving, that sort of thing. And the second one is a local church, a Methodist church. So yeah, let's crack on.
So the first thing I do is have a quick scout around, and as I can see straight away, there's no signage on the extinguishers. I always have a quick look at all the extinguishers and just double check to see when they were last serviced. These haven't been serviced for several years. There's been no company in whatsoever. I also noticed there's some telltale signs that they've never actually been serviced properly. Things like what we call the transport tags, these little plastic nodules that are left on the pin. They're there for when the extinguishers are initially transported from the factory to stop them from being discharged in transit. So it's obvious to me that these pins have never been removed, and therefore the extinguishers have never been serviced properly in their entire life. Apologies for some of the poor quality on the video. I was having a few technical issues. Anyway, now I've ascertained exactly what needs doing, I can crack on with the basic servicing. I've also noticed that a few of the extinguishers require an extended service, so we have that discussion with the owner and we crack on with that as well. Hasn't had the extinguisher checked since about 2016. All of them required a discharge test or extended service / replacement in 2019. So had a bit of a conversation with him. Always a bit of an awkward conversation sometimes when they haven't had them, but I just explain things honestly. I never do any work to the extinguishers at all until I've had that conversation. That way I show the previous company's labels. Luckily the previous company labels, they weren't brilliant, weren't completely up to regulation, but they did have when they were last serviced and when they were due the next service, and so it clearly stated on them that they were due to be replaced in 2019, which was written by the previous company. So it was helpful. So we've done 2 6-litre foam discharge tests, and I'm just about to swap out 2 6K powders. I've only got 4K powders at the minute, but I'm using the Fire Shield 4K powders, which have the same fire rating as the 6Ks that are currently in there, so all works out quite nicely. Also going to move things about a little bit for the customer. The customer's got another unit next door that's got no cover. He thought maybe he needed a couple of extra extinguishers in there, and I've pointed out that he's within the 400 square metre rule. So what we can do is, rather than sell him 2 brand new extinguishers, we can move the existing stock that's in this current unit, put 2 in the other unit, and that gives him cover for both buildings without going to the extended cost. So yeah, all good. Went quite well, that did. Like I said, I could have said to him he needs 2 new units,
That's where like the big national companies and the more sales targeted companies, where they're not really employing engineers, they're employing salesmen. That's kind of like where they strike, as it were, because that chap there, he was ready just to put 2 extinguishers straight in his out of the unit. He was like, no, 2 extinguishers, I've got 4 in this one, I've got 1 next door, I'm going to need at least a couple. I mean, he probably, if you'd have said he needed 4, he'd been like, oh yeah, fine. He was like ready for that. And that's kind of like, that's 4 new extinguisher sales then, which even at our sort of reasonable pricing, sort of averaging say 60 quid an extinguisher, is 230, 240 quid, depending on which type you get. So that's like, you know, you can understand how we go into so many places and there's just loads of extinguishers everywhere, because Chubb or Churches, a big company like that, if they'd been in there straight away, they'd gone, yeah, you're right mate, you need another 2 or 3 in here at least. Some of them even have gone, I tell you what, I'll do you a favour, you can get away with 3, you don't have to have 4, and stuff like that. In reality, we can just move around the existing stock and save them some money. But he's a new customer and he's very local, and I like to look after the local businesses, so, and it's literally just round the corner from me, like a 5-10 minute drive. Right, we're off to this church. I said to them I'll easily be there by 1 o'clock. That took a little bit longer than expected, going through everything, because obviously everything needed changing. But I should be there. It's 10 to 1 now, and it's not too far away. Like I say, it's all pretty local today. So we'll get to this Methodist church and we'll see what they've got there. Literally the cutest little chapel. I'm going to say it's a Methodist chapel. It is a proper tiny little place, and no car park at all, but I imagine when it was built there was no cars. Well, I'm in the right place. As you can see, I don't know if you see the lane. I managed to just sort of dump the van here, literally the only place to park. Had a quick walk around the church. It's a quaint little place. Just spoke to the key holder. She's on her way down. So yeah, see what's in store. Hello, afternoon.
Yeah, it is.
How are you doing?
So there's not a lot to this one, but I thought I should mention, about a week after I did this job, I was contacted by the committee of the church, the treasurer, who had been dealing with, and they'd actually had Chubb get in touch with them. So they'd obviously cancelled their contract with Chubb. What they didn't realise was they're actually in a rental agreement. Now, it's a little bit naughty of Chubb, I think. One thing's for certain, nowhere on any of the extinguishers did it say that it was a rental extinguisher or that it was part of a rental agreement. Because obviously, if that was the case, it's certainly something that we would have mentioned to the customer and let them know. Because effectively what's happened now is Chubb has contacted them and said, we want to come and get our kit back. Now, I think that's possibly a little bit of a ploy. They probably just want to get back in the building so they can have a look, maybe pick a few faults, try and say that we haven't done things properly, try and maybe convince them. Chubb are a very expensive company. They generally do things quite well, but I think what they try to do is, because they're such a big national company and they are expensive, they try to go on the idea that they must know what they're doing and those are the guys to use, which isn't the case. You know, as long as everyone's qualified, there's lots of good qualified fire protection engineers out there. But I thought it was just worth mentioning on this one, because like I said, it was a bit of a tricky one. They'd been in this contract obviously for such a long time. There'd been previous committees had taken over, and it seems to me, certainly from speaking to the church, that they'd not been given a very clear information from Chubb, particularly when they first initially said they were looking to leave and they wanted to cancel. That maybe should have been a point when they said, well, actually, you don't own the kit. As it turns out, we've got a pretty cracking deal anyway. All our kit comes with a 10-year guarantee, so it turns out that it's actually cheaper to buy the kit off us anyway. We give them a 10-year guarantee, and then the servicing costs and all that lot are still vastly cheaper than it does. It's still vastly cheaper than it costs to actually rent the kit off Chubb in the first place. But anyway, I thought it was worth mentioning, and just thought I'd pop that in there.
Yeah, so just 3 extinguishers, simple little job, adequate cover, don't need any extra, signage was there, everything was done, just a nice new one to get on the books. I need to get fuel, but first I'm on the way to Nottingham now. I'm picking some signs up for a job on Thursday. I've got to go and fit a load of signs and do a load of electrical work down in London, and that's it for today. It's going to be pretty boring, just go and pick up signs and stuff. Hope you enjoyed all that. Like and subscribe, do all that jazz. Hopefully this gives you an idea of, you know, a different type of, few different sites that we would visit. And yeah, see you soon. Take care, bye.